Hey, what's up, everybody? Bro Trio here, and we have finally beaten Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yeah, that was kind of my fault.
Yeah, it was kind of the game's fault. My God, this game is massive. Like, there's so much to do in it, and we'll get into the nitty-gritty later, but basically, it is a gargantuan game. Like, one of the biggest games I've experienced since Elden Ring. As far as like amount to do, I didn't even complete it. I beat it and did most of the side quests. It's like complete-ish, but it took me 120 hours to do this. Like, this game is huge. Wow. There's so much to do in it. So, as with typical What You Playing Powwow fashion, we're gonna start with the negatives and with the positives. We're gonna do spoiler-free first, so if you haven't played it, you don't have to get it spoiled for you. But we are coming at you like 3 months after launch because this game was too huge. So, that being said, let's get into the negatives. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is an interesting case where it has like a huge amount of positives and a few amount of negatives. But the few negatives that are there are very big negatives to it.
It's like 10 of these, but 3 of these. So, like, you know, the 10 of these is bigger, but the 3 of these is still pretty big.
And I can't remember if I did this with Final Fantasy 1. But I'm going to try to start doing this in the spoiler-free section. But given all the amount of negatives versus the positives, it would make me end up rating this game at an 8 out of 10. Is that what you would rate it? Aaron didn't play it. He doesn't count.
Most of us played, not me.
Before I actually beat it, I was leaning more toward a 7. I was not having a good time, and that's partially why this took so long to come out. Granted, I didn't really beat it that long after him, but he, like, did a lot of the open world stuff and the side quests, and I got frustrated and just beeline the story. But I still, like, for a few weeks, really, I couldn't force myself to play this game.
Yeah.
Because there were
The middle is very weird.
The middle's...
Again, we'll get into that later.
Like it. Like,
not quite
most
spoilery,
of my... I mean, I'm going to have my session that you told me about where I could just go off. And there's some story issues I have, too, that I can't talk about yet. Which, not really... I don't know. I'll get into it. But I would give it an 8 because the ending was strong. The beginning and the ending were very strong. It's the middle is where it was just... I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, it was...
It's like the game, if you want to relate it to food. The meat is good of the game. The general meat is good. Some of the seasoning is questionable. So it kind of sours the meat, if that makes any sense. But, so getting into the negatives, with the absolute biggest one, and it's not really a spoiler, because I'm sure you've seen everybody talking about it, but f***ing Chadley!
I hate Chadley.
Like,
I hate
good guy.
I hated
the
him.
moment I saw a picture of Chadley, I was just like, who is this and why is he in this?
I hated him in the first game.
I hated him in Intergrade.
I hated him in Intergrade too. Forgot about that. I was counting that with the first game. But in this one, they tripled down on the amount of Chadley, and there's a girl Chadley.
Yeah.
Spoilers, I guess. Who gives a shit? Why'd Chadley make himself a girlfriend, you weird pervert? She looks just like you.
Is her name at least Chadlet?
Her name is Mai, as in M-A-I, because she's an artificial intelligence Chadley made.
Oh, God.
Isn't he an AI?
No, he was like made by
He's a
Hojo
robot.
or something.
He's a robot, right? Or something weird?
He's like, I don't know.
Oh, is he just a computer boy? He's just some weirdo kid?
Like
he's just a weirdo, yeah.
Okay.
Like, they hint towards his, like, origins and remake and maybe Intergrade a little bit. But,
I know
like, there's something to do with Hojo, and it's just like, alright, I don't give a shit. Just give me my combat missions and shut up.
Look, I'm pretty sure they say in when you discover Mai, Chadley's like, what happened here? How'd you make yourself? He's covering for himself. He's a pervert. He's a weird little pervert that made a girl version of himself because he's a weird little creep. You can see it behind his dead, horrible eyes.
So Chadley is like quadrupled down on this game because that leads into the other negative that it's basically the same as Chadley because it's all his shit he's making you do, but the open world, open area is very bloated with stuff to do. Like, there's a lot to do, but none of it's necessarily great. Like, there's combat ones that are cool, so it's like, this fiend is like a Super Saiyan version of the other fiend you've been finding in the, like, field and stuff like that. So, like, you get the challenge of, like, a higher, like, harder enemy, like, almost mini-boss. There's, like, 5 of those per area, which is really cool.
Look, I would take... Look, having too much to do in an open world is a thing.
Yeah.
When there's something to pick up every 5 seconds, it gets very tedious and very annoying. So, Assassin's Creed started that, kind of. Well, maybe not began it, but Assassin's Creed got bad about that, where it was like, treasure chests, feathers, all that shit. And then, so it was like, fine, whatever, that's too much, but that's okay. So, like, I will take a more empty open world with more meaningful stuff than just like, well, you picked up a rock, whatever, like, you can craft with it in this worthless crafting system that we made.
Yeah, you can make potions and stuff, but there's so many vending machines all over the place, like in Remake, and benches to rest at. Like, there's almost no point in crafting them. Like, I had to do it a little bit in the final dungeon, because that one was hard, which was awesome. But, yeah, there's not really any point to crafting. Like, you can get, like, better equipment and stuff. Like,
if you're out of potions, like, you know, it's nice that you can just make some.
You can do potions, you can do some accessories to get some cool ones, and then eventually you unlock upgrades to those accessories.
I do like that you can upgrade accessories through that. That's kind of cool. I never did it because, like I said, I want to say after Costa del Sol is when I was like, I'm not doing anything else. That's not story. I'm just done.
But a good and bad thing to the open world bloat is that it's optional. There's it's not necessary to do it. Like Scotty said, you can just skip everything and run straight to the next location, and that's perfectly fine. Like, you don't have to do any of it. Like, it's beneficial for you.
It massively cuts down on your fast travel points, which is unfortunate. But the way you unlock those, that we'll get into, oh my god.
So that's the next negative, is the stiff movements.
Everything takes so long.
Yeah, there's
I've
a
seen
lot.
that.
Everything takes so long to do.
Cloud's a old hemorrhoidal man.
Oh, but
he has to sit on a cushion every bench that takes him like 30 seconds to sit down.
No, in combat he's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like he's up and moving, he can get in the air and fight there. He's up and around, he's quick as shit.
That's why he's so sore to sit on the benches, I guess.
Yeah, he uses all his energy in combat, and he moves like a sick tortoise in the open world. Like, when not even just running. The running's fine, it's whatever. But and you get chocobos, and that speeds things up. But I'm talking, like, if you need to, like, hop over this little crevice, you gotta line it up just right, or it's not working. And then when you do, Cloud's gonna, like, shift a little bit, kind of get in position, like a cat. That's what I'm doing, apparently, and then he hops right over. But then sometimes he also just hops over a rock when you're sprinting, and I'm like, why
is it not?
This is 2 separate games. Like, one of them, like most of it is the stiff movements, but then, like, when you're hopping over a rock or whatever, it's so quick and it's fluid. But when you're climbing up a wall, good God.
And this was, like, a little bit of controversy before the game came out with the demo, because everybody's like, the ledges are painted again. It's so stupid. And, like, yeah, it overall is. But,
well, look, I'm going to defend that a little bit. Unless it's like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom where you can climb on anything, I'm going to want that.
Yeah. And they did kind of disguise it a little bit. Like, yes, it's yellow, but in the demo, you're in a Shinra construction zone. So it does make sense to be
That's where
yellow.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
But then in, like, the caves, they're, like, mossy ledges. So it's like a little bit, but then sometimes they are just yellow.
Yeah.
It's just a yellow rock or something, but, like, still, you gotta know where you're climbing, and that's very important because the climbing sucks. Like, you got, it's so bad. It's like Uncharted, but, like, they deleted, like, 90% of the button inputs. So, like, it's so hard to get Cloud to go where you want him to go.
That's like the real animation that
he
right
jumps. Like, it's
it's not. I'm not like moving up a wall.
Well, yeah, but that's about the same cadence Cloud will do.
But then at the end of the game, there's a very fast climb because there's leaves everywhere. I was like, just put the leaves where I'm climbing. That solves the yellow paint issue, and it solves the, climbing with all of the speed of a sloth.
Yeah.
God.
So
what do they do that to think it was fun?
I don't know. Open world blow. Chadley, stiff movements. We got 2 left for you. It's the forced mini games. Now, this we knew was going into it because the gold saucer is a massive part of the original Final Fantasy VII, and it was highly shown off in the trailers for this game.
Yeah.
Forced mini games there is fine. It's an amusement park, so that's okay. Force mini games in other areas where they're just like, this is a new mini gold saucer. You can't progress until you get this. It's just
wow.
good God, why? Like,
Talk about Costa del Sol?
yeah.
Yeah, it's like you have to go play the piano. And I was like, I hated the piano. That's why I didn't play it in the other
It's like, you have to play the piano to get a swimsuit token to get a swimsuit. You can't go onto the beach without a swimsuit. You can't buy swimsuits with Gil, you dumb piece of shit. You gotta play like watered down Rocket League or piano to get swimsuit tokens.
I did kind of like Puppy Rocket League.
Yeah.
Because like you had like regular ass like golden retrievers, and then you had Red 13, and you had some of those Shinra, the f***ing mutant dogs.
Yeah.
Like,
And one chocobo.
One chocobo. It was
So
weird.
does that mean that everybody that's on the beach knows how to play the piano?
More or less, yes.
Oh,
or they
man.
have their own swimsuit.
I somehow got the token. I f***ed up Tifa's theme on the piano. Like I got it. Like, cause I tried it in that one little village you unlock after you do the good side quest with the salmon dog.
Yeah.
And
Spoiler free.
there's a dog. Yeah, Wolfie. But you do a side quest and you unlock a little
good
a
side
weird
quest.
little junk town, a piece of crap town, and there's a piano there. And I tried to play it there, and I was like, this is dumb. This is too hard. I don't understand piano, and this is not a piano, but I still don't understand it.
If I ever go for the trophy, I'm gonna have one of y'all hold the other side of the controller with me. So like y'all can do the left stick inputs and I can do the right stick inputs because it's so hard.
And you have to do
both.
like, isn't there something you got to do the foot pedals? But I don't remember.
Like I feel like I gotta uncross my eyes like a chameleon to see both sticks at the same time and like hit them both. Like
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds awful.
it's very weird. Like
it's
it's
a lot.
okay.
I don't like the rhythm mini games in these games anyway because it like gives you the the pull up ones and the sit up ones and stuff. I hate those because it's like just let me keep the prompt.
Yeah.
Just let me keep the prompt there so because when you get rid of it I fail every time and I'm just bad at it. So just let me keep the prompt as an option.
And then this is basically bleeding into our next point. It's the range of minigame quality. It ranges from poo to boo. Like it is like so bad to so good. Like Chocobo Racing, my good God. I said to Aaron, I was like, they need to just make a separate game out of this. He was like, oh, you mean like Chocobo Racing GP? And I was like, oh, wait, shit. I guess so.
Yeah,
but it's
Mario Kart.
It's flat out Mario Kart.
That was
like
pretty
it's
fun.
amazing. Like I love Chocobo Racing.
I didn't do it outside of the story, but I'd imagine it's fun there too.
I like it so much more than in the original because the original you just kind of had influence, but here you have full ass control.
Oh, okay.
And it's
I like
so much fun.
I like that Tifa was really into it. I thought that was funny.
But then you have the other side of the coin where it's being generous, even calling them mini games. Like the live stream crystals, you just hit triangle 3 times. And then there's a circle that goes in, and then you hit it when it's in the right ring, and it just does
not
that
the one
3
where
times.
you're scanning it with the gun. You're talking about the summon one?
No, I'm not even. Summon one's memorization. So, like, it goes around in a circle, and it's like square, square, X, X. And then you gotta do that. And none of them are ever hard. Either. Like, that's the thing. It's like, if they were hard, that'd be something. Summon crystals are at least different every time.
So easy and boring.
But the live stream crystals is just like...
The live stream crystals are one of the worst... Is that the one where you scan it?
Yeah.
That's one of the worst examples I can think of in this game of why
they
do this.
It's just not even why is this even a thing?
It takes Cloud like 1.5 seconds to get his dumb little scanner gun out. And then he scans the rock, and then that takes forever. And then you put it back, and then you have to talk to, guess who? Chadley. Can't really skip it that I found. So you just, I think you can walk slowly a little bit while Chadley's talking.
Also, side note,
Chadley.
going back to bitching about Chadley.
Chadley.
One, he talks to you through the PlayStation controller, and it's annoying. Like, you could turn it off in settings, But Chadley and his little girlfriend will just spout random bullshit to you during a combat mission. So I'm sitting here dodging for my life from this mind flayer, and then Chadley and his girlfriend are like singing along to the battle theme, but not at all on the beat or the right song. It's like, what the f*** are you doing besides annoying me? Like, Jesus.
Wow.
Like, at least before the fight, when you're sneaking up on it, they give you some backstory on the monster. Like, that's kind of cool, but like, end it there. Like, once I start fighting, do not talk to me.
Oh man, guess what? This one is red and it is slightly stronger. Oh my god. And then they just keep talking.
The whole time.
I was like, yeah, I know it was red and I know it was slightly stronger
and I can't
already.
hear a damn thing they're saying because I'm slashing, shooting, doing all the limit breaks and everything, getting my ass kicked while they're talking to me, so I can't hear it, I can't read it. It's very fast combat, so what am I supposed to do?
But like Dan said, it's all optional at least. But I would like the optional stuff to still be fun.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if the optional stuff isn't fun in a quasi-open world game, I think you have failed on some level. Like, that it's more open area than anything, or I guess, whatever, but like, in a game where you want to be big and explorable and have all this optional stuff to do, make it fun.
Mm-hmm. So, that's... No, one quick other bitch thing about the mini games is, like, the Moogles. Like, good God, them. Good God, this minigame sucked so bad, and why the hell
Hey, at least
do the Moogles look like a bunch of sewer rats?
At least Chadley's
Like,
involved.
the Moogle design has been its thing since the beginning. Like, they looked like this in Crisis Core 2, to be fair, at least the reunion version. But, like, why do the Moogles look so fugly? Like, they are so ugly. They look like they got little koala noses instead of the big bulbous nose. They have a little puffball, which is more realistic. And then they have buck teeth and ugly proportions. Like, they're stretched out like a tall teddy bear. And they're just so ugly. And it's like, I just played Final Fantasy 16, a game that came out in 2023, 4K and everything, the most, like, gritty, dark Final Fantasy, and they have a real-life Moogle in it. Like, it looks like it does and should, and then Final Fantasy VII is just like, well, here's these koala nightmares I know you want to see. They're ugly, and they have terrible teeth. Like, it's ugly and stupid, and I hate the Moogle game. It's not even worth it. Like, you get some character books to get experience for the folios, but that is it. Other than that, Moogle shit is not worth it. The whole Moogle Emporium is worthless. There's no point to it, and it all sucks. Now, going into the positives, so that's out of the way.
Yeah, I'm gonna complain a little more later, but this sounded real bad. But the positives
Again,
the positives outweigh it. I promise.
Big negatives, many positives. Keep that in mind. So the positives, one of the biggest ones, and it's the same for every Final Fantasy that's ever existed, is the music. The music is phenomenal. This one is somehow, like, better than Remakes. Remakes soundtrack I loved. Like, that one was very good. Because Remake, obviously, remade a lot of the soundtracks for that game. So, like, you have, like, a better version of the boss fight theme, like, several different versions. And what Rebirth did is they did that same thing, but they also added in, like, brand spanking new music. Because, like, Remake did have a few new tracks, but Rebirth has a good bit of them, and they're they're very good for the most part. Like, some of the world themes are a little, like, so-so, but they set the tone for what that area is. Like, the Corel region desert is all, like, twangy and western sounding, like, very cool. And then, like, Cosmo Canyon is also a desert. It's kind of twangy, but also, like, a little bit, like, ethereal and a little more spiritual, because that's where the Center for Planetology is. And there's a lot of cool music, like, Let's Go Mount Corel is one of my favorite tracks in the game. It's just this weird, like, Aerith is like a Aerith quest, and it's just like, why do they pick such great music for this? Like, this was never like a big part of the game, but it's like banging the music away. And then obviously like the boss fights are like fast, frenetic, like several Genova themes in this, and Genova's theme is good on itself. So the remakes are just amazing. And the music is fantastic. I'll get into that a little bit more in the spoiler section. Character development is very good also in this game. A lot of characters get a lot of development by far. And it's not just us. It's like everyone online saying the same thing. Like, I've asked several people about it, but like, good God. They made Barrett the best character, like, in the game.
Wow.
Like, he got improved combat-wise, too, but good God, his character development is, like, so good. Like, there's a scene towards the end, like, I don't know if it's mocapped or what, or if it's just voice acted, but that...
Talking about the
one at the end that got us all choked up. Like, Barrett, like, sells it. And oh man, he's got a really good date, too, in the Gold Saucer. Like, him and Cloud have a good heart-to-heart, and it's really awesome. But yeah, all of Barrett's character development is very good. A lot of other ones get it too, like Tifa is very like sweet and nurturing, and they like build that out more and like show why she is that way and so much. Like, one thing I didn't get that I really hope we get in part 3 is like, I just want Tifa to get like f***ing furious and just like pissed and like out for blood, because I think that would be like a really cool like character change, that something just pushes her over the edge so she just gets mad in the moment. Because it's kind of weird that she's like the bruiser character, but she's the sweetest one. Like, even including Aerith. Aerith is quirky and kind of like sassy. Tifa's always just sweet. She's never like really like sassy or like putting Cloud down even for a joke. Like, she's always just so sweet. And Aerith was very good, well like developed and stuff too.
Oh, her little thing at that same section with Barrett got me pretty good too. God dang.
And then another positive.
Combat's real good.
Yeah, we'll do combat. I'm going to save that one for the spoiler section, because that's kind of spoilery. But the combat is fantastic. Like, we got the synergy moves from Intergrade, so now they're, like, better, but kind of worse. Like, Synergy and Intergrade, like, Yuffie and Sonon, they could just, like, tap on, like, jump and do ninja taps on people forever, and it would just, like, build up the ATB bar instantly. Here, you don't have that, necessarily. Like, every character has a synergy attack and then a synergy move. So you build up, like, ATB and use several attacks with everybody, and that builds up their synergy meter. So then, if Cloud uses 3 moves and Red 13 uses 3 moves, they can do a synergy attack that's basically like a mini limit break, and it'll give you a buff, like you get like free MP for a set time. It upgrades your limit to the next level, or increases stagger on the enemy, or you can just refocus and not do an attack, but then you get 3 ATB bars. So yeah, the combat is very improved that way. Also, pretty much every character that was in the first one got reworked to be better. Like, Tifa is somehow faster and stronger. Like, Jesus.
Tifa, good God, she is ridiculous.
Aerith was retooled a little bit, so her triangle, like, special move, instead of sending out her familiar that does extra magic damage, she'll teleport to whatever ward she has. So you can just fast teleport. So you can set up, like, an ATB ward, and then your, like, double magic ward, and teleport between them, like, when the monster's charging at you or something. Which is good, because Aerith is slow as shit. Barrett is also slow as shit, but he seemed to get stronger. At least his abilities are far better in this one.
Well, he's got so much HP that it's fine. Like,
I think they buffed his defense. The only one that really didn't get that much improvement versus the last iteration was Yuffie, but she really didn't need it. Like, Yuffie is, good God, she's amazing. Because you don't even need magic, because she's got her ninjutsu. Like, she's ridiculous. And then Red 13 is very cool. Very, like, offensively defense. Like, he's a very unique character to play as, and it's very fun to play as him, too. And we already talked about it a little bit with the good mini games. We got Chocobo Racing, and then the other great mini game is Queen's Blood, a new card game invented for this game that's pretty fun. It's no Gwent from Witcher 3 or anything, but it's pretty good. I would say it's better than the Final Fantasy VIII card game. But the Queen's Blood's pretty fun. Takes some challenge and getting used to it, but once you do, like, once it clicks, it's very fun. And one of the better aspects of this was I mentioned Final Fantasy 16 earlier and how dark and drab that game was. This is like almost the antithesis of it. Like, even though it does get dark in sections, like, some sections are so freaking goofy, like, it makes up for it. Like,
the prisoner king, I forget his name, the one below.
Oh, Gus.
Oh,
He's got, like, a bunch of funky music. He's hilarious.
He walks
like,
out and it's like legitimately like a Gus like rap or what. I don't remember the song. But
yeah,
it's like he has his own theme song that says his name like a lot.
We also have, like, not really a spoiler, but like at one point, Red 13 is dressed up as a Shinra soldier walking on his two legs and starts moonwalking out for his intro, and it's just like, good God. We're on a quest to save the world, right? Like, sometimes it's just so goofy, it's hilarious. But I'm very glad it did stay that way, because the original was pretty goofy in its own right. And Final Fantasies do like to toe that line of, like, goofy and serious all at the same time. The art direction is also very, very good. Every biome, like every area, there's open area, and everyone has its own, like, personality. Because, like, the grasslands is obviously like a bunch of nature all over the place and everything, and then that goes up to the next level with, like, the jungles of Gongaga and stuff. The Cosmo Canyon region is very arid, but still has, like, a lot of life going on, and every region has its own chocobo with abilities that lead into what makes that region so special. So, like, the grasslands has cool. Like the basic chocobo, but the Junon region is oceanside, so there's a lot of cliffs, so that's where you get the cliff climbing chocobo and stuff like that. It's very unique, very well put together to make it feel like every region is different. That's gonna cap it off for the spoiler-free section. A lot of positives and some big negatives, but overall, we give it an 8 out of 10. It's definitely worth your time. It's gonna take a lot of it, and it is like a whole hunk of a game. Definitely getting your $70 worth for sure. But yeah, so spoilers from here on. Now, before a little bro trio behind the scenes for you, I promised, because Scotty's got some things to say, so I was like, okay, I'll give you, you got 2 minutes of a straight up bitch fest. I say let's get that out of the way, and then we can get on with our negatives for the spoilers, because they're pretty much going to all be the same.
Luckily, we got a lot of that out of the way in the non-spoiler section, but I'm going to hammer home again. Why do every time I stand up, I want to do a chocobo stand, why do I have to sit here for like what feels like 30 seconds and pick up this damn sign and spin it and whatever? Stupid. And there's so many things like that throughout this game. I didn't get one summon that the story didn't give me because I didn't want to deal with Chadley and I didn't want to sit here and do the dumb clock mini game. Stupid. Why? Okay, I get Red 13's a long-lived species. Why did you change his cool voice into that?
Oh, this one pisses
Here's
me
an
off,
example.
Too.
Who better to hunt down a criminal than someone who's got a nose for tracking? One finer than any human could ever possess.
Well, I can't argue with you there.
Better to hunt down a criminal than someone who's got a nose for tracking. One finer than any human could ever possess.
Our guy's as good as found.
That was easy.
He goes from sounding awesome to like, hey guys, let's do it. I'm a dog, maybe. All right. Like, no. What the f***, you know?
He was so cool.
I stopped using him after that.
Yeah.
Why did you do that? Why did he have the coolest voice I've ever heard? That's like if you take Liam Neeson and make him sound like a child. Bad, bad, bad. No.
The worst part is he'll still slip into like the good voice
Yes!
after the quest, so he can do it. He just wants to sound cool, so if it's something serious, he's like, they have to take me seriously if I talk like this.
Yeah,
and his growl is just a man saying roar and stuff like that, which is fine, because that's how he's voice acted. But in combat, it's not like the high-pitched one saying roar. It's still the gruffy, cool voice saying roar. So pick a lane and stick to it. And it's not like they even like reworked his name, because he's still Red 13 in the menus. If he changed to Nanaki in the menus,
even then,
that
keep
would
the voice
be somewhat better.
No, not that voice.
Good
That
God.
voice was so bad.
And it's so bad because like he's slashing at enemies, lighting them on fire, and then he's just like, "Fear me!" It's like no one's gonna fear you with that voice, my man. Like, come on. You know the scary voice. You'll do it when we're talking about pirates, but why won't you do it in the battle? Like, come on.
Then another thing, story related. Why the hell are we doing this alternate universe, alternate timeline bullshit when everything's the exact same anyway? Nothing changed story-wise. It's just like, we're aware that sometimes there's a timeline split, but then literally the worlds like converge at this one point in time.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Nothing changed.
Ultimately, nothing changed. Some stuff did change.
Okay, like little stuff. But
there is no Rocket Town in the game because Sid's not recruitable in this game, which is fine. We'll do that next game. That's perfectly fine.
But I mean, like, spoiler alert, guess what? Aerith still died. Why are they even hinting like that's going to change and then it doesn't?
Yeah. I thought that was a little weird. Like,
and her death scene was less impactful because it
kept swapping between alternate universes. So
yeah,
like
it showed one universe where Cloud saved her, then it showed the universes converge, and there's blood running down the sword. You don't see the stab, but you see blood running down the sword. And she's on the ground, and then Cloud goes crazy and starts seeing ghosts or something of Aerith. So it's like,
I like that though.
It's like I liked it at the end, but at first when it first happened, I was like, is she dead or not? Like.
And the thing is,
tell me,
that scene could have been more impactful.
But then clearly
if
she's
they
dead.
had done it like where Cloud, like he pulls up, like he's about to attack Aerith, like in the first one because he's mind controlled.
Oh yeah.
And then like
that was cool.
Sephiroth starts dropping, and then he snaps out of it and like raises up his sword to block Sephiroth's sword. Then it starts like swapping between dimensions and shit. But if it had been that in our dimension first, and then the alternate one or whatever. That would have been more impactful if Cloud was trying to stop it, but still couldn't, and then Sephiroth still just plunked her. Like, it's just...
It's just, like, why waste time
one of the most
doing this?
iconic scenes of video games.
Yeah.
And you kind of drop the ball. Like, I just want to see it prettier, and that's it. Like,
I wanted to see Sephiroth coming down from the rafters in full-ass HD. And stab her.
Like we got the hint towards it in the end.
That is the scene in the game, man.
Yeah,
like,
it really is. Like,
that is the cutscene in that game, and you bungled it. Like, it wasn't as bad as some other people I've seen make it out. Like, you still clearly you see him coming down, and you see a sword like through her. You see a sword into the ground with blood dripping down it. So it's not like she died more peacefully.
Yeah.
Or anything like that.
Some people are making it out like it was better done in the Sephiroth Smash Brothers trailer reveal when he's like coming down on Princess Zelda. But like, it's not that. Like, it's still very good. It's just like...
It would have been so much
confusing.
Better. It would have been better even with the alternate universe stuff. Like Daniel said, he went to block it, blade slides down, and then you see the blood.
Yeah,
that would have been fine.
Very good.
But then she's also in the final battle...
Yeah, like the ghost of Aerith.
I guess it's live stream crap, but come on, why?
Basically,
just let her be dead. It's
my
fine.
thought process is like they never quite say it. Like they kind of hint towards it, but I think since they're ancients or whatever, Sephiroth and Aerith are kind of like Nexus beings, where like they are aware of every other universe version of them, and can
why
like
bother if it
to
means nothing?
It could mean something.
It hasn't yet.
It seems like
it's
Sephiroth
just like, hey,
is like,
we're gonna play as Zack for a while, I guess. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the only change. Is like, hey, there's this alternate timeline where the sky's f***ing Zack's here. Alright.
Yeah, it's weird. There's like several different versions to Stamp the dog. That's how you know it's a different universe. So we got like the Bulldog universe, the Shih Tzu universe. Like, it's just so weird.
It's so frustrating. Because I don't think it's going to mean anything in Part 3 either. So why bother?
Yeah.
Why bother with all this fate stuff? If it changes nothing. It's dumb. And bitching is over.
Alright, so continuing with more bitching.
Wow.
Not only did they bungle the Aerith part, but I think they completely bungled present-day Nibelheim. Like, Nibelheim is a big showcase for, it's like a big scene in the game. A lot of it's from the flashback, which they nailed, I'll say that.
The flashback, oh god.
But present-day Nibelheim is the main part in the original game where you're just like, alright, I'm in this polygonal game, it's like 32 bits, and I'm getting scared of this haunted house. Like, and these don't look like people. Like, why is it scaring me? And stuff like that. Like, it's obviously fake, but it, like, set the tone for it. And then Remake has, like, the train graveyard, where they make it pretty spooky and scary. And then they have the perfect opportunity for this literal house of horrors, and they do nothing with it. They're like, well, you know what? We're going to make you play as the cat this whole chapter. And you have to play as Kate Sith the whole time.
Oh.
And then the house is just like a house in concepts. And then you get deeper, and it's basically just Shinra laboratory. Like, why? Like, everything, like, once you go down to the elevator, everything just becomes like that gunmetal gray wall door setup. Like, everything's metal. Nothing's scary. Nothing's monstery. Like, there's a few weird monsters, like the two-headed ones. But, like, it's weird that they took that and they were just like, let's make it Shinra 2.0 and make you have to throw a bunch of boxes. Like, I was telling my friend, like, I would rather deal with bankruptcy because that is a better Chapter 11 than this game had. So, bitching over now for good, possibly. Moving on to the big positives. So we got the new side characters. We already mentioned Gus. He's fantastic. Dio is equally fantastic. Just this hilarious muscle guy that is just apparently so attractive. Yuffie faints from how hot he is. And then we got Elena, the new member of the Turks. She was very cool. Like, I liked her character a lot. Like, how she's like out to prove herself, but isn't taking any shit from anybody. Like, I really liked her. Like how they did her and everything. And then the big one we were all expecting, which is not like a big character, but like Dyne from Barrett's backstory is like better in this one.
This one's not like a negative, but why does he have like powers like on Akira?
He's Akira now.
Well, in Akira it like hurt him or whatever, but Dyne has this weirdo magnet on his arm, on his gun arm, that can suck up all the trash and make a trash arm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Why?
It's literally like a scene out of Akira. I don't understand it.
Because in Akira, isn't that what like deformed him because he was doing that on accident or something crazy?
Yeah, he was like absorbing the.
But it wasn't. Dyne wasn't like that.
Technology
He just had a
around him.
weirdo magnet. Was like, I've got big old arms now. It's like the cold guides me, and then he's just like.
Yeah, but his character was very well done. Like how just literally insane he is. Like Cloud's insane from like Soldier and Genova cells and stuff. Dyne is just
Dyne's
straight
insane
up
from grief.
like desert grief insane. Like he's talking to his family and then Bear's like, Dyne, there ain't nobody there.
Dyne, they're f***ing dead. Come on, Dyne. And then he's like, I got Marlene though. And he's like, how could I have a daughter with all this goddamn blood on my hands? And I'm like, God, shit, Dyne.
Yeah, it was very. That's like the most emotionally charging moment. And then they kind of swap it up a little bit where Dyne still kills himself, but it's like death by soldiers, not me taking a step off this cliff. Like, so like Shinra comes out and they're just like, hey, we're gonna get you. And then Dine's like, well, I'll go kill myself and hold them off. Y'all get out of here. I'm somewhat sane enough to do the
One
good
last
thing.
moment for Dine to, like, somewhat redeem himself, at least. But yeah. Didn't he say something like, take care of Marlene or something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And then
That's not even the Barrett scene we were talking about, either.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No. Oh, my God,
We'll get
no.
there. We'll get there.
But you can actually, like, after that, you can go back there, and, like, Dine has a grave set up with his gun arm, and, like, Marlene's picture is on it. And, like, Barrett, like, it's not an interactable moment, but Barrett will walk up to it, say something, like, take off his glasses, and, like, pay his respects to Dine again. So, like, it's a very small touch, but it's very cool that because they knew that character, like, was going to stand out that much, because it did in the original.
Now, let's go hop back to the Nibelheim incident. When Cloud is... No, the good one. When Cloud is describing it to everybody, like, narrating it. Oh my God. It was bad in the original, like, with what was going on, but this one with the voice acting and, like when the town's burning, people screaming in the background and stuff.
Sephiroth,
and, like, Sephiroth
stabbing him. Like, he's, like, 10 feet away.
Yeah.
He's like, boink, you're dead.
There's one part where Cloud, like, gets
like,
knocked...
he's showing you how long his sword is and utilizing it.
Cloud gets knocked down or something, you have to, like, crawl, and you can see Sephiroth just going around, like, stabbing people that are on the ground, just like
This is my planet, not yours. Because now Sephiroth's fully insane. He's just like, I was made in a tube, and Genova's my mom. It's my planet now. I'm the last of the Cetra.
He made a drastic error thinking Genova was an ancient. I don't know. I mean, he was just reading those notes, but he just stuck with that. He didn't find the later notes that are like, an alien. But, yeah, that scene was incredibly well done. And, like, the whole, like, I think afterward, Barrett's basically like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And then Tifa's like, that's not how I remember it. And it's like,
yeah.
oh. But then they kind of, like, Tifa kind of, like, they kind of, like, maybe we were so traumatized we just remember it differently. It's like, oh, we'll get into that in part 3. We'll get into the real reason there. Yeah. But any mention of Zack is, like, muted, right? Also to Cloud. Like, it does that thing, like Trigun, where he's explaining all his trauma to Meryl, where it's like, you know, the mouth moving.
Yeah.
But anytime, like, Aerith will say Zack Fair, like, it just shows her mouth say Zack Fair, and Cloud's like, Argh! Like, it's like one of his memory headaches.
Whoa.
It's cool. It's really cool.
So, that's gonna be another positive for it, is not only, like, obviously, it's part 2 of the remake trilogy, so they have to respect the source material, but, like, they clearly show that they have a lot of respect for the entirety of Final Fantasy VII universe, because they are showing that, like, we can redo certain scenes with, like, more emotions, somewhat different with, like, creative changes, but that's, you know, whatever. But some things are really well done, and we got some, like, great, like, way deeper reference cuts than I would have ever thought to see. Because, like, we had it in Intergrade, and we have a little bit here, too, but, like, the fact that Scarlet is, like, in charge of the Deep Ground Syndicate of Shinra from Dirge of Cerberus is, like, wild that that's here. And, like, you see a little bit of it. It's mainly from Intergrade, but, like, it leads into Yuffie's backstory for this. And, like, you see a little bit of, like, Nero killing Sonon and stuff, and, like, he's just this weirdo edgelord from Dirge of Cerberus.
Killing. I think possessed Sonon's coming back. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I never saw a body.
That's kind of cool that they linked up both optional characters' backstories.
Yeah. And then we also have Glenn Lodbrok from
the mobile game.
The First Soldier. Like, that's a deep cut. Like, not really.
I mean, it's like Sephiroth pretending.
Yeah.
To be Glenn, to, like, not be so off-putting to Rufus Shinra.
Yeah, because it's basically one of Rufus's, like, ex...
But that line with Rufus at the end...
Which one?
Finish your thing and I'll tell you.
But Glenn Lodbrok is basically someone from Rufus's past. He's like, I saw you die. He's like, yep, I'm not dead now. But it's really Sephiroth. Just like with him. And then, this is a big one.
So
that,
wait,
like,
let me say that line real quick, unless you're still on Glenn. So, okay, first off, Could Sephiroth transfer through all the hooded guys like Agent Smith and shit in the original? I don't remember.
Basically, in the original, my understanding of it is like you never actually fight real Sephiroth until the Northern Crater.
Yeah.
Like he's in that little tube in the live stream.
Everything else is just Genova Sephiroth.
Yeah. I want to say it was like
it's kind of hard to say
that he could do that in the old one, but
it's never actually said.
You never saw it.
It's kind of hard to. I mean, the original may have been like this too. But it seems kind of hard to say where Genova begins and Sephiroth ends. Mm-hmm. Like, because it seems like they're just completely one and the same now. Or maybe even all Genova just taking that persona at this point. Because, like, the Gi kind of got into that too, which we're getting into. That was awesome. Because an alien life form, when they die, they don't really die enjoying the live stream. They're still kicking. Yeah. Because they have their souls have nowhere to go.
The live stream's just for this planet.
Yeah, you told me about that. That's
the line
so
I was
weird.
talking about, because Rufus Shinra, he ain't no dummy. He got a cool, weird, ugly dog and a cool gun. He ain't no dummy. So he figured out, he was like, it's just Sephiroth, isn't it? Basically. And Sephiroth was like, yeah, you're right, and turned from Glenn into Sephiroth. And then he was like, yeah, but I want the real thing. And Sephiroth, I don't remember what all the conversation was, but Sephiroth was basically like, you don't deserve the real thing.
Oh, wow.
And Rufus shot his ass, and it turned into one of the hooded figures and just fell to the ground dead. It's like, Jesus Christ, Sephiroth, he ain't playing.
But another thing.
Oh, I love what they've done with Rufus, by the way.
Oh yeah, I do like.
He's very much. I don't remember how much of this was in the original, but he's very much like out to prove that he's better than Daddy, kind of thing. Like he's like, I'm not just nepotism, all right?
Yeah.
It's like very well like
they made him really handsome. Also. That's fun.
It's like the best form of like daddy issues where he's not just like, I want it. Like he's like, I deserve it. And like out to prove himself. Like it's very well done.
Yeah, it's not just like, he still very much is, I run the evil corporation, twirly mustache bad guy. But it's a little bit like less. It's a little bit more depth to it than that in this one. Not much. But a little. He's still very like, the planet is only for my profit.
Yeah, basically, like, there's one scene in Junon where
that was my best. What's the dumb fat one's name?
Oh, Palmer.
That's my best Palmer impression, I guess, because that sounded more like Palmer than anybody.
God. But yeah, Rufus is getting inaugurated as president in Junon. He's like, let's fire the cannon. That's gonna be cool. And then they're just like, sir, if we do that, the Wutai will see that as a declaration of war. And he's like, so? I'm president, and I want
it. I don't give a shit.
We can take him, just fire it. It's
gonna
look
cool. You want to get your ass
kicked
again, Wutai? Come on, I'll fire the cannon.
And then he does, and then it starts a war. So. But one thing that was really cool, that is not really confirmed, it's like a fan theory, that, so... Take a trip with me with the tinfoil hats for a second. Because in Final Fantasy X-2, there's a character named Shinra that is always talking about, like, the life force of the planet. And they're just like, hey, maybe we could, like, you know, utilize this and power some shit with it. So it's a fan theory that Final Fantasy X and X-2 are prequels on the same planet as Final Fantasy VII.
I've heard that.
There's other parallels too.
To dig a little bit more into it, in the Golden Saucer intro, everybody's dancing. It's a big old happy dance number, and then Kate Sith pops out, and he's like, "Surprise, bitch!" and has like a sphere he throws at Yuffie, and then her clothes change, like a dress sphere from Final Fantasy X-2.
Oh wow!
So is that a connection? Is it just like some cool dumb gold saucer bullshit? I don't know, but I want to say they're like feeding that fire a little bit more, and then they're just going to be like, we're never going to confirm this. Last positive, and then we'll start talking about a little bit of our favorite story beats, because we're trying to keep this shorter, but Lord knows that's not happening.
Did a bad job.
We're doing very bad. So the best boss of the game, in my opinion, is the final Genova fight, Genova Life Clinger. Because
Genova Life Clinger's awesome.
Oh man, it's so cool.
It's doing like the creepy cool Genova music.
But isn't
it like a little more heavy metal almost?
It's like a lot more heavy metal. Like it's very cool. Basically,
I don't know if
Genova's there. It's a similar fight to the last one in the original remake, but
you fight Genova
in the original
3 times.
At least 2 times.
Once on the boat, and then Life Clinger.
But you fight Genova, and then you fight Sephiroth like 4 times. Like, they're 2 bosses, but good God, it's like a 10-phase final battle, because there's no in-betweens. Like, it's all, like, giant the only in-between is cutscenes. Yeah, he turns into, like, Bizarro Sephiroth.
Big.
Like, which is really cool. And this is a, like, reference to that, I guess, because Genova Life Clinger is, like, a big, hard f***ing boss that has, like, a lot of laser beams and tentacles going everywhere. But, Genova will separate your party. So, like, you beat a phase, you're Cloud, Red 13, and Kate Sith or some shit, and then that phase is done. She'll, like, wipe them out, and then
other
it's
team is
Barrett
in the bitches.
Yeah,
that's what...
Barrett and the rest. And then,
well, yeah, because Aerith is dead by this point, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Aerith's not there. So, like, it's really cool how it forces you to swap, like Bizarro Sephiroth did, but then, good God, the way you beat her, like... Oh, it's so good. Like, you finish it in the cutscene, every single person has something to do. Like, Tifa just, like, drop kicks her in the tentacle, pushing that out of the way, and then Barrett, like, lights her up in the weak spot with his bullets.
Oh, is it like when they kill the dragon and,
yeah, kind of, except they're all fucking up the creature instead of just throwing Cloud.
Yeah.
Like, they all get a turn to mess up this monster.
It's a really cool cutscene, and you feel just, like, so much like a team.
I really
when
like
you do it, and then you have like none of your team when you fight Sephiroth.
Oh,
I really like how they did this in this game, where it's like, oh, Cloud's not the only one that gets to do badass stuff in cutscenes.
Yeah,
because like when you fight the Red Dragon and Tifa,
the Red Dragon was a good one too.
Tifa's like comes down from the roof in the cutscene where they kill it.
Scissor kick.
And scissor kicks it in the head into the ground and kills it.
Wow.
Like, Jesus Christ. Did she get soldier DNA too?
Yeah, she's just a person. Like,
she's just somebody that took some karate classes.
Yeah,
like
Cloud at least has like Genova cells and the disbelief that he's a cool guy on his side. Like, Tifa's just like, I trained under Zangief. I can do this.
I mean, you see him, he's jacked.
So anyways, let's talk about the best beats of the story. Because there's a lot of them. This is a very story-driven game, and the cutscenes add a lot more like depth and characterization to everything. We're gonna try to speed through them a little bit fast because we're not just gonna do the dialogue again for you, but worse. But like, yeah. So Tifa and Aerith dressed up as soldiers in Junon was a delightful moment of levity that was just like so cute to see them just outright having fun. Like,
I really liked that they were like best friends, basically, in this
Tifa
game.
and Aerith are like besties.
Oh,
and
I remember
it's
seeing
so
that.
funny. Anytime like they're whispering, Cloud's like, "Oh God, what are they? They're talking about me."
I remember seeing an interview with one of the creators where, like, after the original game shipped out, they were just like, "We never had those two interact really." Because like a lot of playtesters thought that they didn't like each other.
Yeah.
And he was just like, "That's not what we meant to do. Oh no."
So yeah, they fully opposite direction this time. Like they're best friends the whole game. It's awesome.
And then these next two we already mentioned a little bit, but we'll go ahead and touch on them again. Barrett versus Time. Good God, all fantastic. Like, it was great in the original, but now it's even better because like you can't like underlevel Barrett and have like a really hard time in that fight. Like, the fight's a little like challenging because Barrett's a lot slower and it's still solo, which is really cool. And then he gets his weird junk arm and starts like shit up. But it's kind of weird, like the fight. You have to take cover and stuff, like almost like a cover shooter, but there's no system for it.
Yeah, you can just hide behind rocks and he'll eventually like destroy him, basically.
But it was a really cool fight. Great scenes also. And then the Gold Saucer is a big ass part of this. Like the Gold Saucer date, everybody gets a date. Even Kate Sith, like...
Yeah, you can go on a date with Kate Sith, Sid, and Vincent.
Yeah, if you don't have a good relationship with anybody, you go on a date with them, and it's Kate Sith
just
and the
out.
3 wet blankets on a date, and he's like, "Oh, look how cool it is!"
You're on a date with all of them at the same time?
Because Kate Sith is like in wonderment of like everything. He's just like, "Whoa, look at the Chocobo fireworks!" And everyone's like, "You, Kate Sith, this is dumb." And, like. Everybody just doesn't give a shit. They're just like, "Is that it? Is it over yet?" And he's like, "Come on, Sid, what about this?" And then Vincent's just like, "That's not real. That's not what real fire looks like." And then Kate Sith's just like having the worst time. It's hilarious.
The Tifa date, my God, was that steamy.
The Tifa date is very funny. How, like, so Tifa, Aerith, and Yuffie all have, like, regular dates and intimate versions. Like, if you have max bond with them, they'll be intimate. So, like, Tifa's is the main one that's different.
If you got the Yuffie date, you're on a list.
Yeah. But Tifa, like, in her regular date, like, her and Cloud, like, do something, and then Cloud, like, just, like, grabs Tifa and, like, hugs her and embraces her. Like, it's either just, like, a very strong friendship bond hug, or if you want to be more intimate, like, it's a very strong hug, and then they kiss, and fireworks go off, and I cried and everything. Like, it's beautiful.
Alright, you Aerith people, like...
And Aerith is just a freaking prude, because her intimate version is less intimate than Tifa's regular one, because her intimate version, her and Cloud just hold hands. It's just like, okay,
So all
church
you people-
girl
Yeah, I was
with
gonna
the flower
say,
garden.
is she
like,
just like, oh, I can't hold hands with a boy?
All you people that think, like, Aerith and Cloud were actually a thing, watch those scenes.
yeah,
Like, come
good
on.
God. Aerith is just like, nothing is better to talk about on a date than my ex-dead boyfriend.
Like,
And how I'm
Oh,
still
no.
in love with
Look,
him.
I'm sure
And
Aerith-
how you remind me of
I'm sure
him.
Aerith and Cloud did have feelings for each other to some extent, but Aerith was into Cloud because he was Zack. Basically.
Aerith and Zack
Like,
are perfect for
yeah.
each other.
Aerith and Zack are the couple, just Zack is dead.
Tifa and Zack and Cloud have been after, or at least Cloud has liked Tifa since childhood. Like, it's meant to be. She's the ultimate girl next door, and Cloud gets her in the end. Like, that's the headcanon. That's gotta be it. Because aren't they romantic in Advent Children?
It's kind of implied,
hinted.
maybe.
Yeah.
Cloud is more like being his stupid little loner.
But
Yeah.
I messed up, and I went on a date with the dog. Because I just did all the Red 13's
Can I
missions.
pet that dog?
Because his missions were very cool, especially in Cosmo Canyon, because they had to deal with the Gi a lot. Again, more about that later. But his date was very interesting because he was talking about, like, it's a lot, like a big lore dump. I was just like, me and Aerith used could see the future in the first game, but now since we killed Fate, we can't. He's like, something's gonna happen to her. Don't let it happen. And it's just like, oh, okay. And then it's kind of like a joke scene where, like, he's like, you gotta shake on it. And then Cloud shakes his hand. And at some point before the game, like around Costa del Sol, they were asking, like, Red 13, like, how he likes to walk and stuff. And they were just like, I bet his pads are soft. He's like, shut up. No, they're not. And then Cloud shaking his hand. He's like, oh, they are soft. But one of my favorite dates is Barrett, because him and Cloud just have a heart-to-heart. And he's just like, look, Cloud, there ain't no point in stringing along both of these girls. You gotta make a choice. So
Oh, wow.
He's just
Don't make the choice, Cloud. Sephiroth's gonna make it for you.
Yeah, just...
Like,
But, like, it's
God.
cool that Barrett's just like, look, something bad might happen to us. You don't want to live with the regrets. Either make a choice or don't. Don't do anything, like, half measures. And Cloud's just like, oh, okay. Shit, I'm getting on to my Barrett. So, moving on from the Gold Saucer to Gungaga. The next region houses a reactor, and this is where Cloud loses his mind. Sephiroth gets into his head and he's just like, Tifa died all those years ago.
Tifa died. She's fake. Kill her. He's like, all right.
And then Cloud's basically just like, yeah, you're not real. You're not real. I saw you die. And then Tifa's like, no, I got surgery. I'm healed now. Look at my scar. And he's like, that's not real. You're not real. Genova can be anybody. And then he just like slashes her. And then she falls into the Mako and gets swallowed by a fish weapon, which I don't like those. But
look weird.
A fish? Oh.
They look like
new
fish.
weapons.
I'm hoping they're just like lesser weapons.
Yeah.
And then we get like the Power Ranger like mech weapons later on. Like they're the bosses or something. But yeah, there's just fish swimming around with giant materia in their bellies, which is kind of cool to explain giant materia. But yeah, she gets eaten by that, like sees like her past and shit in Nibelheim and stuff like that. So it's very reminiscent of like in the original when she goes into Cloud's mind and stuff. But yeah, that scene was very cool. Like how Cloud was just like, "You're not real. Nothing is real. Only Genova," and like just almost murdered Tifa.
And quick though, I loved all the little hints about Cloud being a Sephiroth like adjacent clone thingy, whatever. Because like you wouldn't like they were following the guys in the black cloaks the whole time, and if you couldn't see him, Cloud would sometimes just be like, "We should go that way," and they're like, "How do you know?" He's like, "I don't know, just got a feeling."
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh,
And then they go that way, and then see black cloaks going that way. Probably one of the bigger positive like story moments is all the stuff with Gi Natak after Nanaki's like mission quest or whatever.
The Gi were awesome.
The Gi are actually a part of the story now, which is awesome. They're not just random ghost tribe. Like, they are random alien ghost tribes that can't get absorbed into the live stream, so they're just wandering the lands of Cosmo Canyon, forever haunting it. And they made the Black Materia, which is pretty awesome, because they're all sinister and evil and shit.
Well, that's their whole plan. They're like, hey, if we can't get absorbed, we just destroy the planet.
Yeah.
And then we can die. Then we can stay dead.
That's a good reason for the Black Materia.
If there's no planet, there's no ghosts. Like, we can't, we'll die.
And then they're basically just like convince Cloud to like, they're just like, give us the Black Materia and we'll help you out. And then Cloud's like, alright, we'll do that. And then everybody's just like, Cloud, what the hell are you doing? And then he's just like, we're not gonna give it to them, but we'll accept their help. But yeah, the Gi were very well done. I love the reasoning for the Black Materia existing. That it's not just like a failsafe the Ancients made, I guess. Like now it's like has reason to be an antithesis to the White Materia the Ancients did make and everything. And speaking of the Ancients, let's head on to the temple, because the Temple of the Ancients is by far like one of my favorite areas in the game. Like, it's the ending chapter. It's hard. It's challenging. It's very puzzly and cool. A lot of cool stuff happens. We finally get to fight Sung for the first time ever, which is really cool.
Really?
Yeah, in the first one, he opened the temple and then he gets, like, stabbed or something. Like, you never fought him. And you fight all the other Turks, but you never fight Sung.
Yeah.
So we finally got to fight him. We got to fight 2 Turks at once, twice, back to back. So you fight Reno and Rude as one group, and then Elena and Sung as the other group. So that was really cool. And then they collaborate onto the next scene. But yeah, the Temple of the Ancients was very cool, very well done. And then it gets even more well done once you like start realizing how Cloud's attitude changes in here. Because going into it, he's just like, alright, we gotta do this, we gotta stop Sephiroth, let's go team, we got this. And he's very supportive of everybody. But the deeper you venture into the temple, the more business Cloud gets. Because like Aerith and like her, Red 13 and Yuffie get like accidentally on an elevator and transported somewhere else. Then Cloud's just like immediately just like, alright, let's go, they'll be fine, let's go, we gotta get the Black Materia, let's go.
And then he starts like cold blood murdering people also.
Yeah, straight up, like, I don't know if he fully does, but he like goes to chop, like, random Shinra soldiers like are defeated on the ground bleeding out, and he's like chopping their heads off and stabbing them and stuff.
Wow.
Like, it's
everybody's
vicious.
like,
He was
Cloud,
about to
hell?
do the same to Elena of the Turks, and everyone's like, Cloud, stop! Jesus! Like, I know she's bad, but good God! And then, another great scene, we've been talking about it the whole video, the Trials room for everybody but Cloud. Everybody goes into Trials rooms in the
Everybody gets to do their traumas.
And relives their trauma. So you get Red 13, he gets teleported back to Hojo's lab when he first got captured, and gets tattooed, and starts getting surgery on him and stuff like that. Wow. It's like, good God, no, not Red. And then Tifa... Is it what, just her dad dying again?
Yeah, it's her dad dying thing again. For like the 3rd time this game. So it's like...
But then Barrett's is... You get to see Barrett's wife, Myrna, and what Shinra did to the town of Corel when the reactor failed and everything. And they just murdered everybody. And Barrett runs up to Myrna, holds her in his arms... And then she's dying, and like Barrett is just like killing it voice acting wise. Like, he's got like the frog in his throat, his voice is trembling, like he's killing it. And I started crying, and then Scotty started crying at that scene. Like, it was very powerful and very, very well done. Just emotionally gut punch us like 5 different times right at the end. Like,
and it showed Sonon getting taken by
Nero,
Dirge of Cerberus guy, for Yuffie, for her main thing. But Aerith got me pretty damn good. Like, because Aerith's was when her mom died at the train station.
Yeah.
And it was just, you're running around as this little, like, 5-year-old, like, can someone help? And everyone's just, like, turning away or whatever.
You kid, get out of here.
Yeah, well,
like,
one guy
oh,
bumped into him. He's like, watch where you going, asshole kid. And she's like, can someone please help? And then, like, finally, her fake mom's like, what the hell? Yes, I'll help. But it's just like this 5-year-old begging for help and no one paying her any attention. It was so bad. And then Mama died.
Yeah,
so fake mom keeps her.
Yeah. But then we get to the ending. We talked about getting stabbed already, so let's fast forward through that, through all 10 final battles and everything. And then we get to the end cutscene. I like that there's no, like, secret ending. Like, I didn't have to complete the game to get the secret ending. There's only one ending, so that's cool. So you won't miss out on anything if you beeline the story or anything like that. But then you get this cool scene. Everybody's done. Aerith's dead. Everybody's sad except Cloud. Cloud's just like, all right, let's move on. Like, things happen. Let's go.
Does he think like, she's still alive?
I think Cloud thinks she's still alive because he's kind of being haunted by her.
He's seeing the ghost, and then
parallel universe or live stream ghost, similar to like Advent Children, Aerith ghost or something.
I thought he was just crazy, but then her ghost walks by Red 13, and he perks up, and he's like, Aerith?
Yeah. So I'm guessing it's live stream based because Red.
But no one else can see her.
Yeah, Red reacts to her like she walks up to him like pets Red 13, and then he's like Aerith, and then Tifa's just like she's dead. Like move on. Like Tifa doesn't say a word after she dies too, which like really speaks to how they're doing Tifa's like sweet nurturing character that she can't even talk. Like once Aerith's dead, like she was her bestie.
I wonder if the Aerith ghost is going to come into play.
I hope
Spoiler alert. But for the disc, is it disc 3? No, that was at the end of disc 2 where Cloud went away.
Yeah.
Where he got lost in the live stream.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's going to come into play with the ghost.
It might. I don't know.
And also Cloud pulled the black materia out of his bag and it's like, where'd I get this? And just puts it in his sword.
He has the black materia. You can hide it in his sword, but not in the material slots. It just like absorbs into it, like Dine's Akira powers, which is weird. But then Cloud looks up, and like in all of like Zack's timeline or dimension, and all the other dimensions, there's like a fissure in the sky from like meteor like wrecking into it. And Cloud sees that, and he's like, "Everybody, don't look up. We gotta keep moving. Just don't worry about it." And then they look, and they're like, "The sky's clear, Cloud. What are you talking about?" So Cloud can see the fissure in the sky, and that leads to why they updated Remake a week before Rebirth came out to change Aerith's line at the end of that game, where she's just like, now she says like, the sky, I don't like it. Because Aerith, in my opinion, is a Nexus being, so she could always see the fissure in the sky. Now that we're out of Midgard.
Oh, and that's why she likes the Iron Sky better or whatever?
I think so, and maybe maybe that if they can see it, it means like the planet's doomed or something. I don't know. But the fact that no one else can see it, like, it's really cool. And then everybody's just like, Cloud, what's wrong
Cloud,
with you?
what the hell are you talking about, man?
And it's now Cloud's just like, we gotta go to the North Crater. We gotta keep going. It's the reunion. Let's go. But Cloud being ultimately just really insane and even almost more like powered into like Genova and stuff like that. It was really cool to see, and it's getting me very excited for part 3. Like I was telling Aaron and Scotty, my opinion on this game may change once part 3 comes out, because at the moment there's some parts I don't like the whole dimension thing is like it's here or there. I don't really care for the fact that I don't think Zack should have been in this game. I think he should have been heavily involved in the beginning of the third game, because we're nowhere near the actual Zack reveal yet. Like, it hasn't actually happened. Like, no one's been like, this was Zack in Nibelheim this whole time, because that's when Cloud falls in the live stream, and then Sephiroth's just like, oh, this is what really happened. You fool. You don't have powers. You're not a soldier. And then, like, Cloud's just like, I don't know who I am. I'm going to go sit in this wheelchair while the weapons wreak havoc. But, yeah, so I don't, it varies, but ultimately, like, it was a very cool, very fun game. There's a whole hell of a lot to experience in it. And again, I gave it an 8 out of 10. My 120 hours was well spent.
My however long the story was well spent.
I don't know if I'll go back and complete it and get the platinum. I hear it's very hard to get because they did the same thing like Final Fantasy 16, where it's like there's not a trophy for beating all these mini games, but you get this little decoration you can keep at Johnny's Hotel now, but there's a trophy for getting all those, and it's just time consuming. Already took 120 hours to beat. I don't know if I want to put in the extra like 80 to complete it, so I don't know about that. But maybe one day, maybe when I go and replay it, I'll do it. But ultimately, I really love Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Not that it has too much competition at the moment, but at the moment, it's my game of the year. So we'll see if that keeps its place throughout the year. And we'll catch y'all next time for more Final Fantasy stuff on the Bro Trio.